No, I don't. You're on.
Please, brother. Worldly counsel. Yes, I was trying to imitate Richard Nixon, who got caught up in some worldly counsel, and heard some statements he talked about later about how he got caught up in Watergate. He said at first it was just some immoral strategies. He said one thing led to another, and Oliver North was the one that was talking about this. One thing led to another, and before they knew it, they were caught up in illegal activities. Now, this is men that is of an honest nature, whom, when we're caught, admitted, you know. And Richard Nixon, he resigned. He was not impeached. He resigned. So, and now you know that somebody like Hillary or Bill, who was impeached, didn't resign. And Obama, who has done every illegal thing under the sun, Supreme Court said you can't give liberty to the illegal refugees in this country. Obama says, I'm going to do it anyway. He's has no idea, you know, what immoral is, what has no respect for the laws of this country, has no respect for the laws of this country. If he had ran on that ballot, he would have never been elected the first time. He would have never. If he had let people know that he had no respect for the laws of this country, he would have never been president the first time. And that's the difference between counsel of the world and counsel of God. See, with God, there is a line where it says this is good, and you step over this line and this is bad. Right, wrong. But to the world, there is no right or wrong. To the world, there is no. That's why when you go over to godly counsel, you end up doing, or ungodly counsel, you end up doing illegal things. You know, that's how murderers reason their way in. This person, he crossed me, so I'm going to shoot him. I'm going to get rid of him. He's not going to do that to me. Yeah, I'm going to beat him up. I'm going to cross it. Don't think anything about it, you know. Road rage. My wife was talking about the other day, or today, that the pastor was talking about road rage. And road rage, of course, is something that can get you across that line very quickly.
He was talking about drivers. I said road rage.
And see, she has to be absolute truth. That's what it is. The world. To the world, there is no absolutes. You know, Jesus could have been, he could not have been. George Washington might have been, might not have been. The sun might have came up this morning, and again, it might not have. That might be the sun, that might not be the sun. No absolutes. You know? Remind me of the story. It was Laurel and Hardy, where they were condemned to death. They was going to be shot at sunrise. And they're sitting there twiddling around, standing. Ollie's talking, sitting on the bunk, and Ollie's standing with twiddling his thumbs like this, sitting back. He goes, I hope it's cloudy tomorrow. And if you didn't laugh already, I'm not explaining it to you. Okay, so godly counsel, ungodly. Now, I'm not saying ungodly men can't give good counsel. As a matter of fact, some men that I know and love has given me some of the best counsel who were not Christian. They were ungodly. I'm not saying they didn't hold to the godly standard. My favorite uncle told me one time he said, this is a man over there. He says, any man is just a man. He says, if that man can accomplish it, he says, so can you. And I've lived by that all my life. I have said to myself, given enough time, there is nothing I cannot accomplish. And I believe that with all of my heart. This old black guy who was not godly, obviously, when you hear this statement, he was talking to his grandsons, and he says, don't let your pecker run your life. Now, that is good counsel, and it's biblically based, but the man was obviously not a Christian, even though in the story he wasn't Christian. You know, good ungodly counsel. And we have good psychologists. You know, Dr. Phil, who misses it sometimes, but a lot of times he gives good counsel. There is psychologists out there who can help people get over their fears. They can help them get through rough times. They can help them stop fearing death. They can help them get the excitement of living back in their life. And this is what Jesus is about. He says, I come that you might have joy, and that your joy might be full. He wants us to be excited about living. And one of those counsels is, take no thought of tomorrow, what you shall eat, what you shall put on, because, he said, because sufficient is the evil of today. Don't worry about what's happening tomorrow. And you know what? I have taken that to good counsel. If I worry about what's going to happen tomorrow as far as something going wrong, which is what Christ was talking about, you could worry about what's going to go wrong the day after tomorrow. And you could worry about what's going to go wrong next week. And you could worry about what's going to go wrong next month, the next 6 months, the next year. You could worry yourself. All of your time would be spent on thinking about what's going to go wrong in the future of your life. And truthfully, the thing that you can do about it is you can pray and ask God to come in and to your life and lead you and guide you. And that's what Christ says. I have come that you might have joy, and that your joy might be full. And, you know, that's how America has gotten to the place where abortion is okay. Well, we're about everybody's rights, not just Christians' rights. We're about everybody's rights. So they leave the standard of what is right and wrong. They leave the standard of what is right and wrong. I challenge atheists and everybody else. Name me anything that is right or wrong outside of the Ten Commandments, which is God's standard. Everybody, the only right or wrong we know is going to be those Ten Commandments. I challenge them, name me something. I give anybody out there who can name me something right or wrong outside of the Ten Commandments. I'll send you $100 if you can show me that it's right or wrong outside the Ten Commandments. I don't care if there's 1,000 of you. But if you take the challenge and you can't, then you have to give me $100. If I can prove to you, I'll prove it to you, because it's in your heart. It is in your heart. And the only right or wrong any human knows on the face of this planet is that godly standard of those Ten Commandments. That's why our laws are so fizzled, because men want to keep crossing that standard of right and wrong. You know, every time I get into a discussion about this, the atheist or the atheistic person ends up accusing me of those same Ten Commandments. It's inevitable. They do it every time. They leave the reality of the world they're living in and start using it. I says, why don't you accuse me of something of your right or wrong, since the Ten Commandments is not it? Accuse me of something that is right or wrong outside of it, something that of your so-called 10 Commandments. Make those. There is nothing. There is nothing outside of that. And that's why our politics are so messed up today. That's why we have abortion. That's why we have politicians that don't have any respect for the laws. Even our minute laws are very, very important, because it's the little foxes, like the Bible says, it's the little foxes that cause the most damage. It's those little ones that cause the most damage. And where the government is allowed to make those holes into our homes and into our minute laws, like are you having fun over there, babe?
Yeah.
And are allowed to break through our standard. It's to them, it's not about overtaking America in a flash. It's about breaking the standard. Our Constitution. One of our own Supreme Court justices said, our Constitution is no good. Said, get rid of it. It's no good. The Supreme Court justice. And we, the people, or the people that elected immoral president, put that woman in there. Warped people, warped president, warped Supreme Court justice, warped laws. Not understanding. No absolute. According to their standard, you could take every law and throw it away. Every law and throw it away. Get rid of it. And live by what comes to your mind for today that is right. The right standard. It's heretical. You can't live that way. You make a law, and then you have a Supreme Court that says that it's okay. If you don't believe in this law, you can break it. Okay? I believe religiously that we can take the Supreme Court and throw them out on their head when they don't uphold the Constitution. That's what I believe. Am I allowed to do that? You let me try it. You know, just let me try that. It's not going to work. Not going to work. Get on my chair, Tim. It only works. See, I've got a law that dogs don't sit in my chair. And that works well for me, but not very well for the dog. You know? A law is made to restrict the rights of one person against another, depending on whose property and comfort that it is intruding upon. That's what laws are for. Locks are made to keep honest people honest. Locks are made to keep honest people honest. That law set in place is a lock of a standard. And when the person that we elect goes in and cuts that lock off and opens the door and freely does whatever they want to do, illegal, then we have no more standard. This is what Christ said. Listen to the standard of Christ. Listen to the parable of the sower. Which anyone hears the message about the kingdom and does not understand it. The evil one comes and snatches away what was sown in the heart. This is the seed sown along the path. The seed falling on rocky ground refers to someone who hears the word and at once receives it with joy. But since they have no root, no depth of roots, what the King James says, they last only a short time. When troubles or persecution comes because of the word, they quickly fall away, or they die out. And see, this is a warning from Christ to hold to a standard of law. We need, as Christians, to hold to a standard of law. This is a law that love holds together. Same thing that holds our laws and systems in place. It's a law of respect and love for the country that we live in. Being Christian or being atheist, we have to have that standard. We have to have that standard. All right, God bless you. Thank you for joining. We'll see you again next time. Another great message right here, Cross in the Middle Ministry. Captain.